Everything that I need to get back up, I have in me. If I don't have what I need, I can go get it. Once I figured that out, the world was my playground. The question was just, where do I go get it? I don't know about that, where do I go get it? And I don't come from a learning background where I was a great student. I wasn't, my highest grade in school was a C+. And when I got a C+, I did the happy dance. And so I didn't have a background where studying was natural for me. But when I realized that if I go study something and I learn it, I own it, it's mine now, man, it was crazy, because all through school I struggled. The last time I took an English class, my English teacher told me I was the weakest writer she ever met in her entire life. And the same year I took a speech class, and my speech teacher, he said, quote unquote, Ms. Nichols, I recommend you never speak in public, that you get a desk job. It was demotivated people, sad people hurt, sad people make other people sad, because people love company. Everywhere you are, you want company. And so without taking it personal, just see where people are. And so a part of that was I had to see who I was hanging around. And, miserable people want company, and I had to literally be willing to not only relocate my mind, but relocate my body so I can relocate my finances, and relocate my possibility, relocate my son's future. I was very clear the future my son was gonna have if I didn't do something. And I was not subscribing to that, not on my watch. My son's father went to prison when he was 8 months old, and he's been in prison since my son was 8 months old. My son turns 22 this year. My son is an African-American male child living in South Central Los Angeles when, at that time, he had a 66% chance rate of going to prison, not on my watch. So I was willing to be radical. See, most people want the convenience of transformation without the inconvenience required for transformation. So my grandmother says, and I love to repeat this, your conviction, what you're passionate about, your conviction and your convenience don't live on the same block. They ain't even in the same zip code. So if you want to have a conviction for something, you have to sign up to be inconvenienced. We're trying to find convictions and passion and breakthrough on the inside of our box. Well, when you realize that the box doesn't even exist, like someone made up, oh, you're playing outside the box, so we all bought into, there's a box. Well, I don't even own a box. I don't even want to get in your box. And so when you start thinking like that, Tom, all of a sudden, everything is possible. So I disrupt people when I say, you want to make me extraordinary, because it lets you off the hook. You get to play like, oh, well, if I had it like her. No, what if you do? What if you do? What if the God that we call God, the divine, whatever your faith is, what if there's no partial? It's not gonna give me a hookup and not give you one. Not gonna give me an opportunity and not give you one. I'm just gonna go after it. If I die, I'm gonna die on a treadmill, like Will Smith said. I'm gonna be on the treadmill running. I'm just not gonna stop, because I believe all things are available to us. I'm just willing to go after them. Are you willing? And then that is so disruptive, because then you gotta make a decision. Because it's easier to live inside the parameters of, well, as a black woman, well, as born and raised in South Central, well, I'm dyslexic. I wrote 7 books, I'm dyslexic. I'm not perfect. What I do really well is I manage my imperfection well. And so we're all waiting for perfect. It's an illusion that will never come to you, and it's an excuse to never show up and play. Your story is not meant to be your fortress. Your story is meant to be your fuel. The beauty of me being one of the top 1% earners in America is that I was on government's assistance.
Right.
That's the beauty. Come on, it wouldn't be a big deal if my family was rich. The beauty is that when you show the little engine that could story, I'm not gonna run fast, but I ain't gonna stop running. I might slow down and have to breathe and catch my breath, but I'm not stopping, because I believe all things are available to all of us, and good people should do well. Because when good people do well, good people just do more good in the world. And what I believe people love most about me is that I give them the gift of the truth. My truth first. And then in some way I want to inspire you to share your truth and be okay with your truth. And I just tell you guys, I'm that same girl who ran track for Dorsey High School, who struggled to get through high school, who got kicked out of college because I couldn't afford to stay. That was on government. I'm that same girl. I don't forget her. I'm also that same woman who runs a multi-million-dollar business. I'm also the same woman who has 7 bestsellers. I own both of those. I own all of it. I don't shrink to my greatness, and I don't live in my saga and my sorrow. If you can own your brilliance while owning your imperfections, if you can own your giant while owning your smallness, if you can live in duality, constant duality, The freedom will be earth-shaking if you can live in that. See, either you don't want to be as great as you really are, and you're trying to dim your light so that others won't feel insecure about themselves in your presence. And so you keep playing at 79 watts when you know you're supposed to shine at 159 watts. And you keep checking the temperature of the room to see what the room can handle versus just giving the room you and letting them, if your light's too bright, then let them put on some shades. Can you give yourself permission to live in the duality of your imperfections and your smallness and what you're learning and what you still have to learn and your greatness and your brilliance and your light? Can you allow them to coexist and then serve them up to the world? To love you, to see you, to inhale you, to judge you, to leave you, to love you. Some of us are just as afraid of being loved as we are to be left. Can you give the world permission to leave you and love you?